All right, guys. I think we're going to figure out everything we need to know from this Cleveland Browns team and kind of how they're operating on offense just really by watching the first quarter. I'm going to give you like 10 plays today against the Ravens. And granted, the Ravens are a great defense, but so are the Green Bay Packers, and they're going to present a couple of similar issues. The big thing to notice here is because of the lack of this offensive line for the Cleveland Browns has been kind of one of the few bright spots on offense for years. But right now, they've got Dawand Jones, and I believe this is Cornelius Lucas filling in for Jack Conklin. And these guys are getting beat physically. They're getting beat from a schematic standpoint or account standpoint. And really, it's affecting Joe Flacco because he's an older quarterback. He's not very mobile. He's making a lot of fast decisions. So this plays right into whether you're the Baltimore Ravens or you're the Jeff Hafley defense, and how you want to think about things is I can create pressure from 4, maybe 5. I can play a lot of cloud coverage on one side and take away all the short sticks and the quick outs and all that. And I can really focus in on forcing these guys to make quick decisions and get the ball out of his hands, probably out of bounds. We see from these first 10 plays, if you can't run the football effectively, and listen, they still got Bentonio in here at left guard. They still got Teller at right guard. But Nick Chubb's not, he's no longer part of the equation. You got Jerry Jeudy. This isn't quite the same offense that we saw a couple years ago. And really, with the quarterback who did come in and again have another good season in Joe Flacco last year, this just isn't one of those. This isn't one of those teams where you close your eyes and you go, yeah, I think they're going to score over their season average of 16 and a half, 17 points against the Green Bay Packers. Right now, they're 20th in scoring. They're 26th in rushing. And when you watch these plays, they're trying to make this really easy, not because Joe Flacco isn't capable of playing ball, but because they don't have a great offensive line anymore. They don't have great tackles that can pass protect, and their run game isn't nearly what it used to be. So we go motion across, and we just get real quick stick, trying to get the ball out of his hands fast. The Baltimore Ravens are obviously a pressure team, but we got a lot of kind of mirrored concepts on this, and that's going to be another theme with these guys. Is really we're running a lot of mirrored stuff. So we got out, we got the stick, and then we have one guy running a crosser because we got the 3x2 side when we got a fast flow out of the backfield, right? So why does this happen, or why is this part of the game plan? Well, part of it's because you're playing the Baltimore Ravens, but you just see early on, and this is what I think the Green Bay Packers can do, whether they want to bring Quay or they want to bring Adrian Cooper, or they want to just go with 4 guys. Right here, you're going to see we're going to bring here and just put this tackle in a bind. He's going to have to make a decision, but one way or another, Joe Flacco's getting hit early, and I think this is, as you're game planning, one of the things you're always talking about is how you're going to affect this guy, how you're going to affect that quarterback. And obviously with an older quarterback who's not very mobile, but is a veteran, has seen all the defenses in the world, what is one surefire way to make this guy uncomfortable? Just hit him, put him on the ground as many times as possible early in the first quarter, and make sure they can't establish a run game, right? So that's what we're going to see here. Cornelius Lucas actually makes a good decision. You got to let the most dangerous go, you got to pick up the most dangerous. That happens to be Patrick Queen. They go out and make the play. All right, perfect. So we got the next play up. And again, these are 10 of the first quarter plays. Same formation. They didn't motion to it this time. They want a quick hookup. We go back. And the route combinations, again, are pretty simple. We're not going to get, what we don't have is a real burner. I mean, Jerry Jeudy's a really good football player, right? But we're just going to hook up here, here, and here, right? So these are all kind of, it's not only the route concepts that we talk about when we talk about the Cleveland Browns right now, as compared to, let's say, the offense of the Green Bay Packers, it's how they window dress everything. So I can tell by formation, by the nasty splits, by what the personnel is. Kind of, I bet you that Jeff Hafley and the defensive staff have a pretty good idea of how we should play these guys when they're in specific formations, when it's run pass. Let me go back and show you something here as well. If we just start with the real basic principles, like what is the split here? What is the split here? What does this position, this hipped off of from the tackle mean? If he's out, if we're talking about the running back, that is not a running position. This is not a split flow position, right? This nasty split usually means crosser, could be in an out route, okay? Or he could be trying to dig out that safety if they feel like they're coming down on that side. But you kind of know a couple things already. This is more of a pass from that tight end position. You're thinking more that's pass pro. Obviously, from the running back, you think it's pass pro. So we're going to have a lot of pre-snap information. If you're in the secondary, if you're Xavier McKinney, if you're Quay Walker, if you're Adrian Cooper, you've got a lot of pre-snap info here. They hook up out of the 12 personnel with a 2 tight end set. They get the first down. All right, one thing I wanted to just show on this play, you always point this out regardless of who you're watching. This stuff for me is awesome. So watch this, 95 on the Baltimore Ravens pursue here. This is what you're looking for if you're watching professional National Football League games. And then the punch out, just awesome stuff. Okay, guys, so they motion into a tight bunch formation down here on the bottom of the screen. It's under center play action, so you're kind of first thinking run. They do have some under center play action pass. This used to be what they were famous for. Out of a bunch, you don't see as much under center play action with the deep routes out of bunch, just because your receivers are closely knit, and it's going to take a little time to clear all the traffic. That is why you go under center, but a lot of these times you want to really kind of put pressure on the safeties. It's hard to do that from all the different bunch switch releases that you're going to do out of this formation. So what exactly are you thinking from this position specifically? Well, you have all your kind of your down around stuff, right? You've got your guard pull. You can run a bunch of kind of trap plays out of this, whether you're a kick out with a power or downhill with the trap. So you watch this here, and just like Adrian Cooper does, Patrick Queen sniffed this out immediately. And you go from the end zone copy, and these are the plays nowadays when I look at it. I go, okay, I'm not sure that everybody's on the same page, whether we're talking about the Cleveland Browns or a lot of teams, quite clearly, in the National Football League. Like, you see a lot of these mistakes being made. Usually when this guard pulls here, this is a comment that the coach makes that says, hey, you're never going to be wrong, right? You're never going to be wrong. Just read what you see. Generally, if you see this guy head up, you just want to knock the hell out of his hip. Because if you do that, you're going to be in good shape. It leads you up to your linebacker. Instead, we got the double team guard center, and he just shoots through, and really nobody picks up either linebacker. The guard's laid on it on the backside. They've got this read up. Marlon Humphrey does a good job against the receiver. It's just not very well executed unless you really think that the back's path should be A gap, really should be, downhill A gap and then bounce and kick it all the way around. I have a hard time with that. Let's see if blue works a little bit better. Yeah, down like that. And we got to run kind of a throwaway play here. I'll only bring it up because we're going to see it here. They've run it. I think they've run it once already, and then we're going to see it again. So they're just going to run. They're going to run a clear out. They're going to run a clear out. They're going to run a screen here and just try to get this 20 yards. I'm only bringing this up because they ran this play, I think, 3 times in the first quarter or some derivation of it. So we'll just go through it real quick. Just a 3rd and 20 play. It's a nice effort. I like you just kind of like you're trying to get your yards. Like to make some sort of block there on the outside. Tough sport. All right, second series. We've got 2nd and 7. We got under center. 2 tight end set. They love this 12 personnel. They go play action pass. This one's a toss up for me. Now, it's, just kind of, we're not getting, so what are we looking at? We're kind of looking at some mirror concept routes here, right? And, as this pertains to the Green Bay Packers, if fans are doing a comparison, this is different kind of stuff. You're kind of running these kind of like, not necessarily like sail 7s, but you're kind of running these sail 7s. And then you got the bang out you got the bang out here with the release. You got the bang out here with the release. Okay, and then you're probably getting a check down right there. When you see this, obviously you pick a side, you want to win the outside. Right now, we got our eyes going the wrong direction because you're going under center. Now this usually makes the read easier, but I don't know if he picks this pre-snap or not. But again, it's kind of interesting. down here, they're running cloud coverage, and that means this guy's going to fade. He's got deep half. Over here, we got kind of probably a better matchup. And then with this, we got man-on-man here. And it just kind of, it just makes you wonder, why is he getting rid of the ball so fast? Maybe not taking a shot at the other side. No, neither play really looks good. Again, the way that they're dressing this stuff up, I just don't know how interesting it is versus kind of what you see like maybe from the Green Bay Packers offense, right? And there's a lot of different reasons for that. So we look at it from the end zone copy. Under center play action. 71's not really tipping this off. Gets beat immediately. And again, what's the easiest way to get to Joe Flacco's kind of make him feel anxious? We'll get your right tackle beat. Get him hit, get him hit, get him hit. Obviously, when you think about Micah Parsons, Sean Gary, you feel pretty good about that opportunity. All right, you got a stack formation up top. 2x2. Pick up. Short throw again. They're running kind of that trail play where they run the stick right underneath the, I don't even call that a glance. But I want you to watch here again, the Baltimore Ravens on a 1st and 10 play. They're dialing up, really trying to put this guy in a quandary. Now, Joe Flacco moved his back from the right side to the left side to pick this up. So as we look at this from the end zone, you kind of see why he's continuing to run these quick routes, getting rid of the ball fast on the deeper stuff. Ends up in an incompletion. Okay, let's just take a look here. What the problem is, so Dawand Jones again, I think he's the big fella from Ohio State. Just me personally, am I a huge fan of that? Not really. But they're going to put him in conflict by design. Now, Joe Flacco picks this up by bringing the back over. So, technically these guys have, this all the way here, this go 5 down, and this thing's blocked. This is no problem. The problem is you got a young player in here who's not really understanding the pass pro as we've seen so far. And because of that, they end up taking 2 on the inside guy, another free shot on Joe, and it's not like you're just peppering him, right? Like, you don't have to knock this guy out. He just wants to get rid of the ball faster than normal. That's all that matters right now. Another 2x2. You got 2 tight ends at different levels. This could be a split flow look. You think it's not. You go back here. You kind of think it's not, just with the way the back's lined up. They're running that same kind of screen action now. And this is another one of those plays where, look, I'm not in charge of the quarterback room, and I don't know what Joe Flacco knows, but I do know if you're running this glance, usually you're trying to figure out. It's like in all pass plays, you're trying to figure out who you're putting in conflict, right? And right now, you're trying to put this guy in conflict. We've got man matchup here. You got a man matchup here, and our backer is manned on here. So if our backer follows, you've got the glance. So this is a 3-step glance. This is the 5-step glance by that X receiver up top. That's the window to throw. And Flacco doesn't want to throw it. You don't really know why. He doesn't look that way. He's looking at this underneath player here. Misses that first window, throws it out. Again, you just don't have numbers. Really, again, I think that one of the things that you always have to ask yourself, you can take away something from the team that they're playing because the opponent the same. The answer is no here, but you can take things away because of the speed of play, the aggressiveness of the linebacker position, the way they can get on the quarterback, right? So he misses this window, or excuse me, he doesn't miss anything, but he sees conflict here. He doesn't really want to wait for this area. So instead, he just throws it out on the wheel. He's got the one screen, but listen, these guys are hyper aggressive. Real issues there for Flacco and company. Gets rid of the football. Actually has time, but they just don't look like a very confident football team. 2nd and 14. So they take their tight end and move him out to the outside position here. Back's a pretty decent ways away. This is, for most people, this is not a run formation. You start looking at the tackles again. Are they giving away information? Can we build on that? Can we take something away from that if we're a Packers defensive line room? And he's already getting pressured. So they've kind of ran a bubble down here. They've ran a smash concept up top. So here, here, here. They bubble this guy back, run out, and they just run a little stick. And they just don't have answers right now that make sense against the Baltimore Ravens. And I think this is going to play into exactly what the Packers want to do. I say that because you remember Keyshawn Nixon last week basically lining up at the sticks multiple times. I think he had 5 PBUs. But he's just sitting there going like, I know you got to get rid of the ball fast. And all they're having to do right now is bring one extra guy. Right? If you +1 these guys, they're going to get, if you +1 this team, you're going to get somebody to put a hat on Joe Flacco. And you see it again with Dwan Jones here. He's got to take most dangerous. I think to most people, most dangerous is clearly that guy and not the guy coming off the edge. But he just gives a hand, lets it go. I don't know if the Baltimore Ravens know their calls. Obviously, these teams know each other very well. But he gets hit again. He's on the ground. And this is just the story of the day. They really haven't had to win a single pass rush to put pressure or put Flacco on the ground yet. So now we got a 3-by-1. And this is another one of those plays where you kind of scratch your head. Everybody's seen these kind of route combinations and concepts before. They're just going to come up and out. They're going to run the 7. Go. I don't know where this came from. Let's see if I can erase that. Yep. And then we're going to curl up right here with Njoku. For whatever reason, they've kind of predetermined. Listen, anytime you see the down here, anytime you see this guy's back, I mean, really, he's playing kind of a cloud defender where he can drop back unless somebody shows flat, he can sit. And they're bracketing this with the backside. They're bracketing here. They really have 3/2. Okay, this is all you can eat. Really, the check down. Usually in these situations, you're like, I'm probably going check down here unless somebody makes a really big mistake. Flacco's already like, I'm throwing this football out of bounds. If he makes a better pass, that's a turnover. You got 2 outside here of Dwan Jones. Again, they're not winning pass rushes. The Ravens aren't winning the pass rush. Like, that's the thing that we have. You just expect them to win pass rushes. They don't have to win pass rushes to get pressure on Joe Flacco.